we're going to allow a couple of more minutes to start. Less than 1 minute left to start the program, and I'm going to continue to accept guests. So basically, we're going to start this here. This is I'm going to start sharing my screen so we know where we are starting it. And here is, okay, we're going to begin this slide. So, my name is Tahir. I welcome to you our 8th Global Connectivity Conference on Real Estate. All members are CIPS member of NARD, and we are professional, and we want to connect every month to discuss what's going on in the marketplace, any opportunity, also share knowledge and experience with each other. So I'm going to show this. Realty Coffee Talk is all about creating connectivity. We need to connect with each other. We need to increase awareness. We are building consumer confidence in real estate and promoting good ethics and business practices. So the word is in your hands. I said CIPS has such a powerful network. Our members are most qualified professionals with lots of experience, very diverse experience. We can cap on each other's strength and also to benefit from each other. Not only that we share the knowledge and experience, but also make referrals to each other. Because of jurisdiction issue, we could not do business out of our jurisdiction because our license is restricting us to stay within that jurisdiction. So who is the best person who can do a refer to you is the CIPS, member of a global real estate professional network that we have created. We are confident to make a refer to our clients. I recently received one referral from Frank and his group. I'm very thankful and grateful for that. I'm working on it. I never been to North, and I'm right now doing cottage visits. So this is the power of connectivity that we have created. Obviously, we are professional, governed by highest professional standard practice, a CIP designee of NAR. So we're going to continue to admit friends. So this is the agenda of today. Right now, we started this program of welcoming you all to our 8th Global Connectivity Conference. We're going to introduce now our special guest, Peter Jarman. He's the Chief Officer, Operation Officer and Partner of Axcess Capital. And he's going to do the presentation. What is the exempt security market, private capital, and role of exempt market dealer? Then private capital investment opportunity with Axcess Capitals, and how we can earn a referral fee while we are sharing and learning this by referring to the Axcess Capital. So I'm going to stop my screen here, and then I'll do my further presentation. And give me 1 second. So this is a profile of Mr. Jarman. He's the Chief Operating Officer for Axcess Capital Advisors, oversees business in the private capital market with the experience as an investment issuer, a managing partner, and team leader, both in sales and operations. Prior to working with Axcess Capital Group of companies, Peter provided consulting services to product issuers, assisting in building new distribution channel for exempt market investment offering with EMDs and IROC firms. Peter is an engaging presenter and writer and contributed a chapter on real estate in mixed asset portfolio for the book taxation, valuation, investment strategies in volatile market, Carswell 2010. He has spoken to national advisor conferences both in the US and in Canada, including the World Alternative Investment Summit Canada and the World Outlook Financial Conference in Vancouver, BC, and heads up investment review for the Axcess Capital Committee. So I'm going to stop my say, and we're going to welcome Peter. Welcome to our 8th Global Connectivity Conference on real estate.
Thank you kindly. And I really appreciate the warm welcome. It's always great to be a part of these engaging and exciting opportunities to get together, share knowledge, share information, and see where it leads, because it often does. Tahir, I'll just ask your confirmation that you are seeing the screen and that that's working for us.
Yes. Before you do the presentation, I just want to make a disclosure that I am a dealing rep registered with Axcess Capital through Ontario Security Commission. And I believe we have also Ken Finch. He's also DR with Axcess Capital, registered with Ontario Security Commission for disclosure purposes. Yes, yes, it's fine.
Thank you very much, Tahir. Yes, and I'll briefly set the stage for you as we get into the presentation today. I like it to be certainly more or less a discussion piece. So we'll move fairly promptly through some of the main themes and topics that we're going to talk about today and aim for some discussion towards the end of the presentation. Axcess Capital Advisors, as Tahir has mentioned, is a licensed and registered securities broker dealer in the Canadian market. We are particularly focused on private real estate offerings, and so we have a great deal of experience in that role. We are also licensed as an investment fund manager and are the owners of a small mutual fund company. We also are a restricted portfolio manager for real estate and debt portfolios. Any of the presentation that leads to sort of future expectations of return or profit, of course, should be understood as an expectation only. And of course, this presentation is only for those eligible to invest, and it's made subject to any discussion future where you'd have to become a client, look at eligibility, and read the appropriate securities documentation. So with all that said, that's the legal stuff out of the way. We'll talk about investments. We're going to talk about real estate broadly and some of the market opportunities that we're seeing with Canadian companies in the Canadian market. Our experience as Axcess, though, is actually quite broad. The company started over 20 years ago, and our founding partner, Bill Buterman, is a Harvard MBA, finance degree, and went on to a Juris Doctorate, which is a law degree, although he has not practiced law. And we use that special skill set to defend ourselves against big legal bills. That said, our funds that we manage do extend beyond Canadian borders. Canadian investors have proven to be very interested in some of the macro market moves and what's happening broadly in the international market. So some interesting highlights from our background. We're currently winding down a real estate portfolio with assets in Mexico, a cruise ship terminal in Honduras and Jamaica. And we have funds that are actively raising capital, where the primary assets are industrial or office buildings in the United States and Mexico, and also include multi-unit residential all across North America. A large part of our steady income product would come from mortgage lending, and we have numerous partners in the mortgage lending side. So we see both the debt and equity side of real estate. When we turn our attention to what's happening in the markets, however, you do see a real, I guess, appetite for alternatives. What's happening right now is, some of the most volatile times in the market. If anyone recalls last March, we saw significant market drops as we adjusted to the new COVID reality. A lot of negativity in the market. And further than that, investors are encouraged, even by their own providers, to look at, why is my fund not performing as well? And usually there's a lack of alignment there. Costs in a lot of the mutual fund market are really quite high, with costs on an average mutual fund exceeding 2% and sometimes as high as 4% a year. You have to earn a lot in a mutual fund to have steady performance that matches the index. And I think what investors are really aware of as well is that there must be another another way to move forward. When you have only a focus on public markets, you're really kind of stuck with what happens in the equity market. And most investors are left without a system or an advisor to help them look for alternatives to the public market. Then we want to present today strategies to deal with that volatility and really talk about where private investments fit into an individual's portfolio and how people can safely participate in that investment sphere. A lot of this goes back to where are we investing? Are all our eggs in one basket? This has been a part of the discussion in investing systematically and really from back in the day, from Warren Buffett back to Harry Markowitz, and even further back to Benjamin Graham with his book, Portfolio Fundamentals of Investing. Harry Markowitz was a Yale University professor, and in 1952, he approached this from a very mathematical bent. And he found that it's essential that people diversify. To back that up, rather than just estimating what that might look like he used a mathematical model and was looking for ways to keep a portfolio balanced and performing while lowering the risk. Or conversely, how can you keep the risk low and get your return to be higher? So those are both standard questions that we deal with our clients all the time. And really what it looks like if you have two completely what we call non-correlated investments, or investments that don't track based on the same economic factors, and we're looking for a rate of return, we'll say that over a period of time, we might have reached $96 in return. If we have an adverse event in the market and one of those is knocked down by $5, while the other one's knocked or pushed up by $5, we're going to have a market event and still reach $96. And that's really, really key when you look at volatile markets. You're looking for alternatives that won't be impacted by a major market move. For a lot of us, we've put our monies away in our IRA or Roth 401k or in some form of a savings account, and more broadly across the world, we're looking at how we can participate in global markets. When Markowitz did his work, he was looking primarily at the US market, and he found that the optimum diversification would be in 30 stocks. But what happens when the market goes against you? What happens if there's a fairly significant market change right when you're ready to retire, or your client comes to you and says, hey, I've got a lot in this real estate market. I need some assets outside of my concentration. Well, the only way that we can do that is start to look at opportunities that aren't in the stock market and that are not correlated with major economic returns. And the way we do that is, of course, we look back to an asset class that you are all very well familiar with, real estate. If we think about it, investors want more stability. They still want decent returns, steady returns, and they want to be exposed to real estate and energy and perhaps finance. They want to be also protected, and they do not want to be in a position where they feel their capital could be at risk. Many of you on this call, I know from talking to Tahir, have significant experience working with wealthy individuals. And you'll note that high net worth individuals typically have a high concentration in real estate. They will own rental properties, perhaps their own office building, perhaps multiple homes that they have paid off. And the reason for that is real estate has traditionally been a realistic place to protect your capital. Even in times that we're facing right now with significant creation of currency by the Fed in the United States, in Canada by our federal bank and federal government, and certainly in the Euro economy, more broadly across the world. As we've seen huge COVID relief measures, we've created more currency out of thin air and basically put ourselves on track for some significant inflation. Well, the good news is that day in, day out, you folks are working as professionals in an area where the main assets that you work with will help your clients protect them from inflation. Generally, my research goes back about 10 years. I wrote a chapter for a book that Tahir referenced earlier, published by Carswell. And we were looking particularly at real estate as a contribution to a mixed asset portfolio. And what we determined, utilizing research from Switzerland and the United States, is that real estate actively hedges against inflation. As we look back over the last 10 years of performance in the investment market in Canada, we found that that has actually been borne out. Even with cost of living increases and inflation increases, we're seeing steady gains that far exceed the inflation rate and protect our client's position. But how do you know one product from another, and how do we find out whether the offering that we're seeing in the private market is safe? In the public markets, we know that there's a prospectus, a public document that's filed. We know that companies have to file their financial returns every quarter, and it's often reported in the news, their earnings or their failings on a quarterly basis. In the private market, there's a lot less regulation. And so securities dealers like Axcess Capital Advisors have been empowered by what we call National Instrument 31103 in Canada, a securities guideline and set of rules and standards to act, in fact, in a way to assist investors as they invest in the market. We are effectively what's called a gatekeeper. And what we do on a day-to-day basis as an exempt market dealer is we work with securities that are exempt from the public market, that do not require public registration. And we find ourselves right on trend with some of the bigger fund managers and portfolio managers in world markets that are continuously looking for income and growth out of real estate, finance, and energy asset managers. So quite quickly, you'll find as you start working with Tahir or ask questions of our firm, that we're really trying to bridge that opportunity to give individuals in the marketplace an opportunity to understand the process of investing and really the backstop of what's in the market and how to be a part of it. And as we look at that, you'll find that you may see a slightly different balance in how we structure portfolios or what kind of guidance we give. The standard investor that we run across has a lot in stocks and bonds and mutual funds. And unless they're high net worth, they may not have a lot of exposure to real estate or private investments. We tend to balance that out. And in some cases, our trend we are seeing is that as the investments in real estate and private offerings perform, they outweigh or protect a standard stock and bond portfolio. This has been seen, very much as in some of the larger pension fund managers. And if you start to see your investors look this direction, your clients look this direction, it really comes down to how it works for them. At a portfolio management size, I must say these funds are much larger. They're in the billions of dollars, but it is still instructive to look at them as an example. OMERS, which is the Ontario Government Pension Fund, used to be 82% stocks and bonds, but they looked at the shock of the stock market in 2000 when the tech boom bust, and after 10 years, they had adjusted to 43% private. They're now closer to 47% private assets, owning infrastructure, toll highways, airports, and strategic investments in utilities and property management. If we look at the Canada Pension Plan, which backs all the pensions of Canadians right across the country, at the end of fiscal 2014, 88 billion of the fund was invested in private assets, including about 28.2 billion in real estate investments, making CPPIB one of the largest private investors in real estate in the world. And you see this trend is very standard in the US as well. The Yale Endowment Fund again, now in its 30th year, and under David Swenson and several other portfolio managers, they've moved their asset mix to 58.8% private assets versus public. So true diversifying means that we own assets that respond differently to the fundamental forces that drive markets and returns. And that's from David Swenson, Chief Investment Officer at Yale University. With this type of a spread, you might ask, well, how does that work? Well, it turns out it averages 12.3% per annum. And we seek to duplicate that with how we work with our clients. We'll do perhaps a large component of fixed income and look for standardized returns based on mortgage income or mortgage payments or leases or rent. This would be very familiar to you if you're working with high net worth individuals that own properties and rent or lease them. When we're looking for more growth, we might reduce our allocation because growth tends to go to a higher risk. But in that category, we'd likely look at direct ownership in a real estate project, or perhaps shares in an energy company, or a lending portfolio, alternative finance. And finally, we'd look at pure equity or shares in a company kind of as our last and cap piece in a portfolio, because most of the investment world is already there. They're already highly volatile. They already have high liquidity in a public market. And really our focus should be consistent, standardized returns. How we get there, we look very diligently at the companies that come to us and say they want to be approved for distribution on our shelf. Our due diligence program includes a detailed review of the business plan, criminal and credit checks of the individuals who are asset managers or who may have ability to write a check or do banking on behalf of the company. We look for their previous history and track record. And really, we're thinking when we see a new company come onto the private market, what is their ability to deliver? Have they done this before? I think this goes really well in just about every aspect of life. As a landlord myself, I have 4 properties in Calgary and Edmonton. And although they're minor holdings, even so, when it's time to get some plumbing done, I don't look for a discount. I definitely look for the licensed bonded firm that has a 20-year track record. Same way here. We're very interested in investment companies on a day-to-day basis. We see 2 or 3 offerings a week, and we need to know their previous history. Has management actually done this before? We'll then even go to site visits and inspections, appraisal review, insurance documentation, and we'll ensure that we understand internally at Axcess how they plan to use their funds to complete the business plan and pay it out. From a Canadian market perspective, we then reach out to mainly Canadian investors. We provide them with a number of strategies where they can invest. They can use registered plans or cash investment capital with very low minimums. It often is the case. And that's not so that we reach to the smallest investor. It's often the case, though, that across an account structure, you might have some small balances here or there, or unemployed capital, and we want to be positioning that correctly. And then we're looking for different lengths of term to allow some liquidity, even in a capital market strategy that might have a long-term focus. You know, your dealing representative, someone like Tahir or Ken, they're the ones who help you find all this information. The firm is back working, behind the scenes on due diligence, ensuring that the structure is there, but it's really the professional in the field, the dealing representative, that allows you to explore the access you might have to larger projects, large property portfolios, or different funds. In the past, at least in the Canadian market, that's really been more or less only available to high net worth clients, and often through just a law firm or a portfolio manager. Now with the tools that we have on digital platforms and the new registration, 10 years now and running in our Canadian market, it's possible for us to bring that assessment and skill set to a broader market. What this allows us to do is we sit with clients and we diversify. Instead of there being, more or less just a mutual fund or stock portfolio, or maybe a little bit of exploration of bonds, we'll move right over here to your top right and do real estate, energy, and finance in a private capital market context. And the result of that is that 20, 25, 30% may be allocated into private assets. There are rules around this. And of course, if you're an accredited or high net worth investor, you have more leeway than others. We are in an asset category where we have to look carefully at whether this will expose you to any risk, what your liquidity might be, and how you anticipate liquidating funds in the future to meet needs such as tuition, perhaps the acquisition of a vacation property or property management in other areas. But it's interesting to note, going back to that chapter I contributed on real estate as an inflation hedge, one of the other things we looked at is in a portfolio management model, like Markowitz did at Yale back in 1957, what would be an allocation to real estate that would make the most sense? Where would you get the best tipping point between real estate-based securities and real estate investment generally, and stocks and bonds? And what some of the research is out of the Swiss market is that as much as 50% may be allocated directly to real estate investment in theoretical models to get that ideal balance of risk and reward. And really, this does come down to an individual decision. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the performers in our marketplace in the next few slides. But I'd encourage you, if you have any discussion or questions about that, speak with a registered advisor such as Tahir and get a sense of where that might fit for you. So looking at our market and what's out there, who are the leaders in the marketplace? What would be let's say the top 3 to 5 investment companies that Axcess deals with? And what do you get if you invest with those? And how does it work for EMDs and DRs and maybe even referral partners? So I want to give you a quick snapshot of that over the next 10 minutes, and we'll discuss some of the opportunities that are there. Again, past performance is no indication of future return, but it is a pretty good indication of track record, expertise, and experience. So we're going to talk broadly about some of the REITs and real estate-based investments in our marketplace. These are principally available to Canadian investors in Canada. Centurion Reit, some of the numbers here are moving very rapidly indeed. It's a REIT based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with now in excess of 3.7 billion in assets. And just recently, if you check the Centurion website, you'll find a press release that they just completed an acquisition of part ownership in 30 buildings in the province of Quebec, in and around Montreal, Quebec, which is truly a global city on the world stage and one of the most beautiful cities in Canada. Centurion has a long history. Its CEO, a gentleman named Greg Romont, was actually a derivatives trader, first in New York, later in London and Singapore. And whenever he needed to stop the craziness of investing and managing a derivatives desk, highly leveraged credit derivatives, he would put money in real estate. In 2006, he and his family and several business partners in Ontario had 2 limited partnerships going, and their returns had been exceptional. Their risk had been low. And he contemplated what he had to do every day in the derivatives market to ably manage a complex financial portfolio just to stay even, compared to managing a steady, consistent cash flow from rental properties in Canada. That prompted some planning, and by 2007, they pulled their assets together into a REIT and began moving forward. One of our partners here at Axcess Capital was very quick to identify that. Our director of mortgage investment and exempt market services, Rod Barillo, was in fact one of the first to approve that product in Western Canada when they were still about $130 million REIT. Since 2012, they've grown exponentially, not only in capital size, but they've generated in excess of an average of 11% return for investors year in, year out. Some years it's been as high as 18%. And it comes from a combination of regular, consistent rental income and the increase in value in the Canadian market. Following along that same trend, ICM, Property Partners Trust, based out in Western Canada, has commercial, office, and industrial properties across Canada, the US, and Mexico. They yield about 4.5%, like a dividend on a monthly basis, and have an overall target of 10 to 12% per annum. The beauty of a lot of these tax structures from the Canadian market is that they provide a return on capital, which is non-taxable. And that can be a significant bump again for investors. Avenue Living, based here in Calgary, Alberta, where our head office is located, 1.6 billion and growing rapidly. And then we get into some of the alternative finance side. Invico, Diversified Income Fund, sits in that 8 to 12% return based on a portfolio of alternative lending, which includes mortgages, special credit for corporations that are rapidly growing, mezzanine finance and development, and even movie tax credit financing. In the entertainment industry, US producers and developers routinely send film crews to Canada. The advantage of that from a US perspective is they leverage some of the best filmmakers in the world in a highly tax incentivized environment. Our dollar is 80 cents to the US most days. And so it's cheaper to do a film in Toronto or Calgary than it might be, let's say, in Los Angeles or even San Francisco or New York. At the end of the day, the tax department here in Canada also provides significant tax benefits. And so a group like Invico will fund the movie crew on an approved letter of credit and then receive the tax credits due them from the federal government in Canada. And the result of that is obviously some significant returns that are paid to investors on a monthly basis. Some of the newer issuers and smaller issuers are into an even wider array of product: car washes, self-storage portfolios, retirement residences. This is a growing area. Levante Living, a group that we've worked with now for 4 years, is acquiring small and mid-sized seniors retirement residences across the province of Ontario, Canada's largest province, and generating a 7% pref with a 40% profit participation upon sale of the portfolio. Retirement homes are going to be big in the US and Canada for the next 2 decades. The global averages and the global demographics show that the so-called baby boomer generation, or the post-war baby boom, in 1946 to 1964, are just now reaching 75 years old. And as they move from 75 through 80, 85, and well into their 90s, retirement residences will be necessary to support them and to build into their quality of life. So we're excited to, again, see that trend, identify it, and participate. Undoubtedly, you can find some of these same opportunities in a public market format. There are public companies that do retirement living. There are public companies that have self-storage portfolios. But if you participate there, you're subject again to that mass market and move, whether it be up or down, and it may be against your investment strategy, whereas a private company tends to hold its values based on appraisal. Its incomes are based on real returns. Its lease and rental rates are steady. And as a result, we see that most of the private issuers we work with, their behavior is to flatten the investment return profile and provide more of a steady state to investors that build a mixed asset portfolio. One of the private equity side that we thought was quite interesting, they focused on steady state revenue. Perhaps you know already from working with clients, elevators are a very important part of any multi-story building. It turns out in most countries, they're also extremely well regulated. How many times have we seen a drama, a TV show, or a movie where the elevator falls 3, 5, or 10 stories, and that's a bit of the excitement or fear built into the movie plot? Well, the reality is that doesn't happen very often. Companies like ThyssenKrupp and Koenig are highly regulated and have very significant incomes. With this New Look Capital that we worked with, they actually bought up a significant number of the elevator service companies in Toronto, Ontario, and gas detection and dental firms, and that provides a monthly revenue in and around 4.5%. And we get into some very interesting things. Working with a group called InvestX out of Vancouver and a portfolio manager there, we have access to some of the pre-IPO stock for companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, or Palantir Data Management. And you can see that, again, always focusing on private assets gives us an opportunity to work our way around some of these massive market moves that may not go in your favor in the years to come. Going back to Centurion, which we wanted to highlight today, they started, as we mentioned, in 2006, moved forward with a full REIT profile in 2008. Since 2009, you can see their asset value increasing in the billions. A relatively small portfolio management staff in Toronto, Ontario, working under Canadian standards and guidelines, all capital raised through exempt market dealers up until about 2016, at which time they started to broaden their exposure to the broader market. For an investor in our market, this allows them to have real estate ownership without having to manage a rental property. It's a chance to be a part of a much larger experienced asset management team and to participate in income producing apartments and to get exposure to mortgage lending. The result of it is a really tax efficient process where you see stable pricing on the asset based on appraisal, based on actual net operating income, based on rent. So monthly cash distributions aren't really a guesstimate. They tend to track very consistently. And we don't see a lot of volatility in the asset value of these trust units. They move consistently and are based on the actual value of the properties in the portfolio. So I guess as we step back from all this and try to think about, well, what's desirable for high net worth clients? What's desirable in my portfolio? It really is looking at financial reporting and transparency, a multi-year track record, a team that's looked at where the equity will be used and what the management alignment would be. Do managers in your favorite stock own a lot of that stock? Do they know what they're going to do in the next 3 years if the earnings per share drops? Some of those questions can be handled or addressed really well by diversifying to private capital. So when we look at it, we're of course looking at distributions or yield, making sure that investors can receive that on a monthly or quarterly basis. We're looking to see the track record, that it's a multi-year track record, that they have paid out when individuals have asked for redemptions. We're looking for tax efficiency, and we're certainly looking for profit sharing in projects as they move forward. What this allows for you as an individual, as you attend this particular presentation, is I think an opportunity to broaden your perspective a little bit about how private market securities may play a role in a high net worth investor's portfolio. As we look for those investor metrics, as we look for those good indicators that we should consider a specific offering, we can also look at how it works from a dealer's perspective. Now, of course, we make commissions and we participate in the trailer or service fees on an annual basis. That helps us stay up to date with due diligence, research, putting out statements on our digital platform, and ensuring that we're around to help administrate profit shares and participation when a building is sold, when an individual wants to redeem and wants to find a new home for that capital. We're duly charged under the current securities guidelines in Canada with providing quarterly reporting. We do that digitally through a portal. And we are required to keep detailed notes and suitability on each transaction as it goes through. Most of our transactions are only available to Canadian investors, but we do have the opportunity to discuss capital from other sources and look at how those might be positioned. And as you probably have guessed, yes, there are referral fees that may be paid. Referral fees are generally only allowed through a dealer, and a referral arrangement is something of a 1 hour or more discovery call where we sit with you and the advisor that we're working with, licensed with Axcess, and we make a reasonable assessment of where we think that referral trail will come from and what type of investors we'll be working with, and then assess a referral fee schedule that's paid on every successful capital placement. I hope you found this helpful to kind of give you a framework for looking at what's available in the private capital market. One of the things I'd like to end with is, I think from our perspective, one of the most interesting parts of our discussions with investors usually is around the size of the market. Using Canadian statistics, there are more transactions in the private market on an annual basis than there are in the entire Canadian public market ecosystem. And the reason for that, if you think of it, is that even public companies make private acquisitions in smaller limited partnerships. Pension funds are looking for various finance groups or mortgage lenders to participate in. Family offices, private high net worth families often have their own portfolio managers, and they will be looking for income opportunities, whether it's a film lending deal, an alternative finance for a natural gas development, or even something as exotic as a cruise ship terminal. So lots of opportunities, and Tahir and Ken are both trained in this area, and we're very much pleased to have them on the Axcess Capital team. Happy to take any questions you may have at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, for your presentation. Please open your mic if you have any questions, and please ask. I will ask one question about REIT. Can you define the definition of REIT? R-E-I-T.
Yeah, absolutely happy to. So a REIT is a formal collection or aggregation of a large number of buildings. It is what's called a trust, a real estate investment trust. In some jurisdictions, they use a slightly different name, a real estate income trust. But whichever way you want to go with that name, a REIT is short form for real estate investment trust, and it creates a steady cash flow, typically from rent. REITs are very much a part of the market in the public market, and you will find that they own large collections of industrial or residential or even office properties. And what you're really doing in that is you're dividing up your ownership and diversifying it across numerous buildings, numerous states, provinces, or cities, and participating in income from all of those different buildings. Some of the larger REITs are exceptionally sizable. They'll be 4 or 5, 10, 20 billion dollars. We specialize in smaller Canadian REITs where we see opportunities for growth, because you often see some of the highest returns in the first 10 to 15 years in a REIT's lifespan.
Thank you, Peter. Ken, do you have any question for Mr. Jarman?
No, just now. Thanks for the presentation, Peter. You know, it's great. And yeah, just if anyone has any questions, you know, after the presentation, you know, reach out to Tahir or myself.
Yeah. So my interest is that, you know, we have a CIPS, we are around the globe. And my interest is to get everybody to connect and create an opportunity where their referral fee could be paid. Okay, so I think you elaborated that when a referral is made, the EMD, which is Axcess Capital, and the DR, which is me and Ken, will join together and say, okay, this is the accredited investors or eligible investor, and we talk it out and see which investment opportunity will suit them. And based on that, you will make a referral fee. So in this case, I have a question. In real estate, all payment is made by the brokerage to the brokerage. So let's assume one of our CIP partners, global partner, will make a referral to us. How the money is paid? Is it money going to the DER, or is going directly from the Axcess Capital to the person whoever referring it? Could you help us?
Good question. Yeah, any referral is subject to a compliance review. So as you've suggested to here, that's a discussion that happens in advance to make sure we can do the referral. And we like that to be completely transparent. So the agreement around referral fees is made available to the referral source, the professional referring the client, the dealing rep or advisor who will be handling any investment transactions, and of course, the licensed dealer being Axcess Capital. That agreement is signed and it's a private agreement, but it is kept copies by all parties, the referral partner, the advisor, and the dealer. From that point forward, any commissions that are generated are split as the agreement requires and are paid directly to the advisor and the referral source by the dealer. There's a full reporting cycle on any of these transactions. As you can imagine, we are a securities dealer. So this is also disclosed to the client. Clients are made aware of all fees. And although sometimes they may think, well, gosh, a 5% commission, that seems significant. However, if you think about it, when we're placing capital for 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years, it's important that there be a significant fee that can assist the dealer and the advisor long-term in providing client service. So we do look to be efficient on fees, and but we are also very transparent with clients. It's always in the best interest of the client that they know all the fees upfront.
Fantastic. I think this is more interest to us because we are making transaction, and we do, when we make a referral to each other in CIPS as a real estate, we do sign the referral agreement. So I'm hoping this is simplified referral agreement to have a good understanding what is being done and how much being paid and when to be paid, because it also has to be subject to completion of transaction, correct?
That's correct. It's subject to a closing. So for example, if an individual refers someone, you still have the advisor role. There still has to be a know your client document completed. When the determination is made that a certain amount is suitable for investment, then the advisor handles all of the arrangements around transfer of funds, placement of the security. Upon closing, the fund, or let's say a REIT, for example, will have a law firm and bank, trustee, or other financial intermediary close on those funds. When the closing is complete, usually within 24 to 48 hours, funds are sent to the individual asset manager and the commissions are remitted back to the broker dealer. So at that point, again, we're usually on a 10-day cycle, and that it's very efficient. You kind of have to be, because investors will come in. I had a meeting with an asset manager on one day, gave an update that Friday to my client. On the Sunday night, he phoned in and said, I'll be in the office on Monday. I need to make 3 placements. Okay, so we have to be that efficient and move as quickly as possible. For those of you on this call, Tahir and Ken are fully and duly registered with Axcess Capital across Canada. We principally deal with Canadian investors, so I want to make clear that is one hurdle we'll have to chat about when we're looking at international placement. We often have to go an extra step and look at whether they can be received by the fund, what provisions their legal counsel will have for any other jurisdictions that wish to invest. But certainly on Canadian investors, it's a very straightforward process.
Fantastic. Viewers, I think you have a good idea about the private capital, and Peter done an excellent job. I say thank you very much for
thank you. Appreciate it.
For doing the presentation. We're going to record. This is being recorded. It's going to be placed in our Global Real Estate Professional Network YouTube channel and LinkedIn and share on Facebook as well. So we thank you. If you guys have any question, please feel free to contact me or Ken Finch and ask any question. And Peter, we really thank you very much for a very detailed presentation. It was very impressive. Thank you very much.
Great to be a part of it. Great to meet some like-minded folks from all across the world and professional in every regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All
Bye
right,
now.
friends. Bye for now. Thank you very much. You may leave. Thank you. Now I'm going to do the presentation in terms of the small. I think we have a good presentation. Now let's talk about our conversation, introduce each other. Tell us what's going on in the marketplace before we do the small presentation. I'm going to make it very short because the financial is always tough and big one. So I'm going to start with Frank. Frank was overseas on a trip and he shared lots of pictures. So can you tell us, Frank, about your trip and what we can learn from that trip, please? Frank.
Sure, thanks, Tahir. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, we did a trade mission that consisted of 16 broker realtors across the United States, and we traveled to Portugal. We initially, the trip was really designed around attending the Still exhibition, which is a realtor conference in Lisbon on one of the days, where we met with various developers and contractors, as well as other agents that serve the country. So that was the first objective. The second objective was to travel to 3 different regions within the country to experience the different elements of those regions, whether it be cultural, whether it was urban or country or beachside. So we really got to experience various terrains and so forth. But the most important thing was to establish, nurture and establish relationships for business and get to know the people, experience the culture, experience the food, experience, of course, the wine, and visit with various developers in each of those regions on projects that they're working on, so that we get a sense of, what are the types of projects, what's involved. For example, the Golden Visa is a program that Portugal has, as well as many other countries in Europe, where you can invest $500,000 and it affords you a Golden Visa, which within, I believe it was 5 years, don't quote me, a lot of detail, but within 5 years you can apply for citizenship, and there's a number of other elements that go along with that, the Golden Visa. You don't have to buy one that's at least $500,000. You can buy multiple properties. Of course, the cost of real estate is not cheap. So I think the lowest price new construction that we visited was about 280,000 euro. And that was a 1+2 type unit, single family home with a pool. And that was in the Algarve region, which is the south of Portugal. And then we visited condo units that were being redeveloped, in a sense, within Lisbon, two different projects. And they ranged anywhere from 450,000 euros up to $1 million, depending on the type of unit. So it was a very...
Yeah, did you share those things on Global Real Estate Professional Network? All the details. I did see some pictures, but its best thing is to share the information there about on our network.
Yeah, I had planned to put together a summary of that.
Yeah.
Of course, keep it simple, but and if you need any further information, you can reach out and we we could certainly get you in touch with our contacts over there. If you or any of your clients or investors are interested, we should make that happen.
Thank you very much, Frank. So we're gonna start from the screen. I think you guys can open up the mic. There's no problem. Before I begin my small update on the Canadian market, I'm going to just go from the screen. Lucia, you want to say something? Everybody say 1 minute, say hello and tell us what's going on. Please, every minute, everyone.
Hi, good morning to all. Costa Rica right now is in a gray zone because they are going to be implementing the vaccine passport after December 1st. So what we have seen right now is a lot of people that were coming to Costa Rica are deciding not to come.
Yes.
So, you know, we don't know yet how the market is going to go. It was going great before they talk about the vaccine passport.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as they start talking that December 1st, they are going to implement it, then people start saying that they are not coming.
Wow, that's no good. But anyway, in Ontario, I think Canada has opening up the border of the United States, which is a very good news. We're waiting for it. And also in Ontario, they have already implemented this passport or vaccination confirmation portfolio. So we all carry this. We can't go to restaurant unless you have that the vaccination with you. So I am very hopeful that this last quarter of 2021 will be very hot, and I will share some information with you. Let's everybody introduce a few seconds, every minute, 1 minute each. Then I'll do the statistic about what's going on in the market here, and then we go from. So I'm going to ask Bernadette, you go ahead, please. And we're going to follow that screen.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm Bernadette Denby, and I am coming to you from Ireland. It's 7 o'clock in the evening, and the weather is a little bit chilly at the moment. But yeah, so I'm an auctioneer, valuer, and estate agent, and I sell all types of residential and commercial properties here in Ireland, lands and sites. And I'm a member of the Institute of Professional Auctioneers and Valuers. Frank there is also an international member. I'm a member of NAR, and I'm a CIPS, Certified International Property Specialist. And I'm also, because I'm a member of MIPV, I'm also a member of CEPI, associated member. So I have over 20 years experience here in Ireland in the property market. And I suppose what I'm trying to do in relation to connecting is to be a local agent with a global reach. And that's my goal, to have somebody wherever I need them, somebody I can rely and trust upon, that I can pass my valued clients on to and know that they will get the same service and standard of service that I hope to provide to them. So really that's what it's all about for me. I am hoping to get to San Diego. My flights are nearly booked, and so it would be great if we could connect in San Diego and make the virtual become reality, so that we could really make good physical connections with each other and build better relationships.
Is the conference now physical or is still virtual?
It's both. But we're holding off because they weren't allowing us to travel to the US, but now we can travel from the 8th of November. So fingers crossed that won't change. But yeah, no, it's physical or virtual. So if you can still go, I'll be there.
Yeah, it's good to be in person. So we're going to start. Leslie, could you please?
All right, there we go. Hi, my name is Leslie Woods-Halls. I'm with Century 21 Redwood Realty in Northern Virginia. And I head up the International Forum for my local Realtors Association. And I was working with a gentleman today. We are talking about the E2 visa, which is a little bit easier than the EB5 visa of individuals coming into the US to purchase properties and investments. And if anybody is interested in sending over any individuals who might be interested in purchasing in the Washington metropolitan area, they can definitely contact me. I can put my contact information in on the chat. So the market here is obviously crazy, like it is everywhere else. It's slowing down a little bit. The houses that are on the market maybe a week or longer now instead of 24 hours. So that makes it really beneficial. And the best part about it is the fact that it's still a very great investment to purchase property here in Northern Virginia.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing, Aline. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eileen O'Driscoll with Century 21 Concept 100, coming to you from Northern New Jersey, where we had an invasion of New York residents fleeing New York City last year, heading out to the suburbs because of COVID. So inventory was extremely low and bidding wars were extremely high. In cases, properties were sold 80 to 100,000 over asking prices in certain cases. It really got out of hand. It's steadying off a little bit now. Inventory is still low, but it's steadying off a little bit. And actually, I just read an article yesterday that, and I guess it was due to COVID-19, but they are allowing desktop appraisals right now in New Jersey. So they're moving to that, and that's a result of COVID because that held up the process last year a lot as well. Just there weren't enough appraisers to go around. So yes, inventory is still low. I'm a CIPS member and a fellow IPAV member, overseas member with Bernadette. It's great to see you, Bernadette, as always. And I'm actually in partnership with another CIPS and IPAV member in Ireland, and we are putting a property on the market in the southwest of Ireland in Cork. It's over 70 acres of land, and it's sea property. So that's pretty exciting. Look for a video of that. I'll share it with the group when we have it together. And that'll probably go for around €650. So if you've got anybody looking for that getaway place in the southwest of Ireland, reach back out. So I don't think I will be traveling to San Diego, Bernadette. I'm sorry, I will miss you. But I'm planning on crossing the pond at the end of the year, so I'm not sure if there'll be an opportunity for us to connect. But it's good to see all of you. And again, I'm here for any of your Northern New Jersey, suburbs of New York referrals. I'm more than happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. I didn't mention before myself, I'm a fellow of Real Institute of Canada. I'm a CIPS and board director, Mississauga Real Estate Board, and chair of Education Committee. My focus is always education, because education helps us to do a better job, not a sales pitch, but by educating your client, you're able to do a better job. And being a CIPS, having this power, connectivity, all the experience, we all have a diverse experience. This becomes our strength, and we can use each other's strength, and also we can make some money by a referral fee. And I'm very grateful for Frank and his team referring me a client to buy a cottage property north, which I made 4 trips. I driven almost 2,500 kilometers for 4 days, 4 trips. And this is not about that activity, it's about passion and helping your client. So I just let you know, Frank, I drove almost 2,500 kilometers on 4 trips, and we're still debating and talking every day. So this is why, is because you have bestowed your trust on me to make sure that I do a good job for your client. I'm sure sooner or later they get the feedback how I did it. And this is why we have a power of connectivity. Recommending or making a referral to a CIPS is just like you are going there. The trust, the confidence, professionalism, good ethic that we follow are very strict and highest in the world. So we take a lot of pride in our friendship, our global connectivity and partnership, making a refer to each other. So I have 2 more friends. Ken Finch is not a CIPS. He's my partner with the exam market dealer. I'm hoping that he will sign up for CIPS soon. He's a FRI and CPM. And so I'm hoping that he will sign up for CIPS soon, then he can join our meeting. So Ken, I'm going to ask, I have 3 more people that who has Anyone else? There are 3 people who are on the screen, but they are not showing their video. If they want to say something, please go ahead. Marianne, are you listening?
Yes,
Could you please go ahead? Can you turn on your video because it's being recorded? It's good to have your face if it's possible. Oh, a lovely background.
Very nice.
All right. All right, can you speak? Marianne, can you turn on your, yeah, go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't feel like I have much to share, but I'm in Punta Gorda, Florida. And, you know, I am CIPS and of course, very interested in other areas and other opportunities. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go to the National Association meetings in San Diego. But, you know, hope for other global opportunities. And of course, I welcome referrals to Punta Gorda.
Wonderful. Anybody coming to Toronto, you can count on me in Ontario. I'll go all across Ontario. Thank you very much. Michelle Jones, are you there? Landro Oliveira? Yes. Please go ahead. 1 minute, please, both of you.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Good. Good to see you, sir.
How's business? Everything's fine?
Everything is fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you. Great opportunity. My name is Leandro Oliveira. I am CIPS for 2019 in Brasilia. Right now, we're working business for international business for CRS, ABR, Secovi Confesse. I'm busy in Brazil, everywhere in Brazil for residency and commercial business. Look in Brazil right now, it's very, very good business. The profit is great. It's great for investment because the dollar is high in Brazil and the real is bad. That's great opportunity for investment in Brazil. Ask me anytime. I am a professional for 20 years. I work in the United States of America in their field for 10 years ago. I have a company in Brazil right now. My name is Leandro Oliveira. It's a pleasure to help everybody in Brazil, okay? Thanks so much for great opportunity.
Thank you very much. Make sure you share your information on the here. And also,
yes.
I created a global real estate profession network where you can put your business card and share information, okay? We really appreciate you joining us. I think this is the first time you joined, correct?
Correct. And my daughter, Michelle Jones, my daughter, she's living in Tallahassee. She's a great opportunity right now. She's in the business. Michelle Jones.
Yeah.
You asked before, Michelle Jones. Hey, she's there. She's there.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, sure. We're going to call her back. Marianne, can you please speak yourself? Ken, I'm going to keep you at the last.
Okay, I was wondering where, what area of Brazil Leandro is in?
Open your mic, please. Leave everybody open the mic. You can have a conversation.
Okay, I'm in the area in Brazil, in Brasilia, capital, the government, and then work in Goiânia, Brasilia, and São Paulo. Okay? Three cities in Brazil. All right?
Okay. Thank you.
If you have a question, my cell phone is right there. That's my cell phone is WhatsApp together. If you need another information, give it by email. I send email for you. Okay? Email by email. All right?
Okay.
Brazil, great opportunity right now. Great opportunity.
Yeah. See, this is very important that creating this private group that we have done for, because legally we cannot use CIPS designation as a part of the group. So because it's a trademark of NAR, So I have a conversation with them. So I changed the name of the group to Global Real Estate Professional. Therefore, we're not conflicting with that. That's why I have to change the title of the connectivity conference. Even though we are promoting CIPS, everybody is there is a CIPS. I don't allow other people to come into this program because we want to promote and grow our global family greater and greater and help each other. So now I do recommend all of you who have not joined my global real estate professional network on a Facebook, please do join it. Ask your friend who are CIPS to join it. And we like to share an experience, knowledge with you. Please let me know when you want to speak. I'd be more than happy to invite you to come and speak. So before, now I'm going to ask Ken Finch to re-emphasize about the referral fee and about the EMD, because that's why he's representing a EMD Axcess Capital. So how do you think that this can be easy for us to make a referral for our CIPS partner to us? Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, they're phenomenal investments to help diversify a portfolio. It helps out with either an income base, or you can roll back in your returns back into the investment. And so it's an excellent investment for yourself or for any of your clients. And for the referral fee, it's a good system that Tahir has set up here with this global referral network. So, it's straightforward. As Peter Jarman mentioned, the referral fees or, the referral partners have to get approved by the compliance team, which, basically anyone in CIPS, any member is basically pre-approved because, they know that it's a group of professionals. So, it's straightforward. You contact Tahir. Everyone has Tahir's contact information. I left my email address in the chat as well. So if you just want more information about any of the investments, or if you want, full details for referral information, or more information about the exempt market and Axcess Capital, just reach out to either one of us, Tahir or I. We'd be happy to elaborate more on any of the details.
Thank you, Ken. I really appreciate that. So I'm going to finish my presentation. I'll give you a very quick, I'm not going to take too much time. I'm going to share the market update here because this is part of our presentation. So then you have, I'm going to go back here. And this is the Toronto GTA area and surrounding city. We call them Toronto and GTA. And as you can see, the market update residential transaction, they were minus 18% in September, 20 to 21 September, minus 18%. That means they're less. And from August to September, there was 0.7% increase in transaction. And if you look at the average selling price in September 20 was 960,613, and now is September this year 1,136,280, 18.3% increase from last September to this September. Tell me this entire period is a COVID period. And in August 2021 to September, 1 month, it increased 1.8%. This is a residential sale, including freehold homes, detached homes, semis, and condo unit, townhomes, everything. Okay, so here is a new listing, is minus 34%. Look at this, we have a 22,441. Last September, we have 13,000, so minus 34%. But sale to new ratio, that means how long it's taking to get it done. It went from 54% to 67%, so it's selling faster than it coming in. So is the property days on the market, minus 13.6%. It used to be 22 days, now it's 19 days. And listing day on the market is 16 to 14, 12.5%. And here is leasing activity. I thought it was a good idea to tell you, 126.7% increase in leasing And can you believe it? Because affordability is an issue, there is a shortage of housing. And we have, in my last presentation, the political party was going to election. They made some promises. Now, Liberal Party of Canada came into power again, and they will be implementing some program, which I discussed in last our conference. And hopefully, as they come along, the biggest concern of the real estate organization is supply, supply, and supply, and how we can coordinate cooperation between the federal, provincial, and municipal governments together to expedite process. Since we adopted virtual technology, we expect them to expedite the approval process for the new construction. Even though new construction comes in, it's still going to be built. So that means you are talking about another 24 to 36 months to come into the play, depending on small subdivision or high-rise building. So this continue to have a problem. And here is a sale, 148.1%. And this is for leasing and sale in condo market. Apartment sale, 155%, because affordability issue. People can't afford detached home, so they're buying condominium apartment. Selling average price second quarter last year to this second quarter, 10.8% increase in the condominium average selling price. So you can see that shows you the trend is going toward high rise and density. Apartment rentals, 104.4% increase. So there are more rental now. Similarly, you can see the quarter last year to this year, it went down on the one bedroom rental apartment. And this is the history. Is give you the history. I will be posting this on our YouTube channel and our network. So you can see September last year, 11,033 transactions, average price 960,613, and September 9,046 transaction and average price 113,680. So you can see that this last 9 months has exceeded last year's sales transaction, 95,070, and is already at 97. I'm projecting about 120,000 plus transaction this year, and it's going to pick up. So I think you already seen this project. This already went through the process. Because of time, I want to make sure everybody participate. So this will be also posted there, and you know the process. Majority of them you have seen that how I present that. If anybody has a question, feel free to contact me. And I am your CIPS, your real estate connection to the world. And thank you very much. To exchange information, I request all of you to join Global Real Estate Professional Network, a private group on Facebook. Only CIPS are allowed to join, so we can share the project information. We cannot email or text or information. So having to post everything at that one location is helpful. So our 9th Global Connectivity Conference will be held on Wednesday, 24 November at 1 p.m. I thank you very much for watching. I'm going to stop the share. And thank you very much for joining today. If anybody wants to share anything before we complete our conference, feel free to do that, please. Lucia, you want to say something?
I just want to thank you for organizing this conference.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and I really enjoy all the information that we get.
Yeah. Because I think, being a real estate professional, we are involved with a very diverse client, and they have different needs. So idea is that if someone need certain guidance and professionalism, and because now me and Ken, we both have a DR license to help on the private capital, and we are registered with Security Commission, Ontario Security Commission, with the Axcess Capital. So we can talk about it. I could not, if you notice that I have a license since June. I couldn't talk anything because anytime you talk, you got to have a permission from your chief complying officer. You cannot believe it. You cannot even post your business card. You never seen my card yet because it has to be approved. So real estate is very different. We are very liberal, a lot of things being done. And I'm very strict because I'm a complying officer for real estate brokerage that I own. And also I'm a complying officer for mortgage brokerage that I own. And I am very strict about it. And thanks God, I've been in business almost 16, 17 years now. No complaint. People learn from me when they come and see how I do it. So I want to capitalize on your experience, your knowledge, your expertise in your respective area. Share with us so we learn from each other and we benefit from it. So if anyone, I saw, I think Michelle, was it? Yeah, Michelle has already spoken. Michelle, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Why don't you show your face and say hello and we can.
Sure, give me a second.
Okay, sure.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you very much for joining. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. So I kind of unexpectedly became a realtor earlier this year. And you guys heard from Leandro earlier. He's my dad. So it's great to be here, learning everything and kind of connecting like across the world. I'm in Florida right now, in Tallahassee, the capital of the state. I went to Florida State and it was great. So I kind of just stayed here, stuck around. Me and my fiance bought a house and we have 3 kids. So it's been nice. If anyone is planning on sending their students to FSU or to FAMU, check out, I put my email in the chat. I can also send it to you directly. I'm at Michelle Sells Tally, because that's short for Tallahassee, @gmail.com.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm really mostly just here to learn. I've just started, so I don't really have a lot to say about the business other than I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, I think Leonardo, your dad is very proud. My daughter, she's in the second year university, but she already have a realtor license. My older one is an engineer, and the youngest one is a realtor now. And she's paying for her studies because she makes the deals and pays for it. The only kid that I have that pays her own fees. And this is
wow.
I have a.
So she's not gonna get for Christmas. She's not getting coal for Christmas.
No. This is very important because I've been in real estate now 16, 17 years, and my goal was the transitioning what knowledge I acquired, having an engineering background, technical knowledge, and I wanted to make sure that my legacy continues. So I kind of talked to her. I says, your older sister didn't do it. Why don't you do? And she did it and completed all the education in first year. And she has a license. She's practicing, doing, helping out. So I'm very glad that your dad is very proud dad that you're going in. I personally feel, being a father, a grandfather, that the girls are playing so much responsibility, looking after the family and friends, the kids, and the whole contribution they have. So it gives them a flexibility of life to look after the family, kids, and all that stuff. I don't see any other job has that flexibility. Do you agree with that, Michelle? Your mic is off.
Sorry about that. I got disconnected. I was saying, so women have always worked in the home, like you were saying, we've always been the one, looking out for the kids and the family, etc. So of course we should also be the ones out there representing, buyers and sellers. I mean, why shouldn't we, if we're inside the home working inside, why can't we sell houses too?
I can tell you about 55% of the 95,000 in Ontario are women. So we are,
right.
Women are majority realtors in Ontario. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have a really close friend who is a realtor. She lives in Central Florida. And it's really funny because we used to work together in a call center. We were both trainers. And then a year ago, she became a realtor. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting, Brittany, you're doing realty now. She's like, yeah, I really like it. She majored in communications. And then I became a realtor, and then she found me on Instagram, and she's like, now you're a realtor too. And I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a great profession, especially if you're in the communications or media or like English field. I think it has a lot to do, like someone was saying earlier in the presentation, with, you know, passing knowledge to your clients and making sure that you're educated so that you can educate them, you know, to handle the process the best way possible for them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Frank, last word from you, and before word of wisdom, and then we'll.
Thank you for having me.
I was just going to suggest to Michelle, if you have the opportunity in the Tallahassee board to join the Women's Council of Realtors, I think you would really enjoy that. It's a great network, great support group for everyone, not just for women, but it does focus on women in our industry.
Thank you very much. We are reaching a point of our ending our conference. I request all my friends to please go to realtycoffeetalk.com and subscribe my YouTube channel, where you are able to watch all my real estate. I think there are almost 80 or 90 episodes. I do Realty Coffee Talk live on television every Thursday. I pick up a topic of interest for consumer as well as for realtors. So please go subscribe it, help me, because it give more interaction, ask question. If you have a topic of interest, let us know. Real estate business in Canada and US is the same system that we have. We follow very strict guidelines and ethics and professionals, and we have regulators who make sure that we are following the regulation that govern our real estate business. So I just take this opportunity about Realty Coffee Talk and myself as your host. Thank you very much for joining our 8th Global Connectivity Conference on Real Estate. And we shall meet on the 28th November for the next conference at 1 p.m. same time in November. And I wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe this conference, and also until we see you again. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.